The hall was overflowing with excitement, camera flashes pulsing like heartbeat rhythms across the glossy marble floors of the 2025 Weibo TV and Internet Video Summit. Reporters were packed shoulder to shoulder, fans pressed behind barricades, and celebrities drifted through the venue with carefully crafted glamour. But beneath the surface of bright lights and polished smiles, a different story was unfolding, quieter, unexpected, and deeply personal. Wang arrived last. His entrance drew immediate attention. Not because he was late, not because he was dressed in a sleek charcoal suit that fit him like it was sculpted for him, but because something in his expression wasn't the usual familiar confidence. It was controlled, but tense, as though he stepped into the venue with a weight he wasn't used to carrying. He scanned the room instantly. Not for cameras, not for fans, not even for his own team. His eyes were searching for someone else. Shen Yue. They hadn't seen each other for months, not since the quiet tension after their last joint appearance, when misunderstandings had layered themselves like bricks in a wall neither of them wanted, but neither could fully break down. And tonight, she wasn't supposed to be involved with him in any way. No interviews together, no photos together, no interaction at all. At least, that was the plan. But plans have a way of breaking when hearts get involved. Shen Yue stood near the center of the hall, speaking with staff, holding a small clutch bag with both hands as if grounding herself. She looked poised, graceful, unmistakably beautiful. Yet Dylan noticed something others didn't. The slight stiffness in her posture, the practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes. She was nervous. She was avoiding the cameras. Or maybe she was avoiding him. Dylan inhaled slowly. It wasn't that they were fighting, they weren't. But they weren't fine either. They were suspended in a fragile in-between space where everything felt like a misunderstanding waiting to happen. Where every look lingered too long, and every silence felt loaded. And tonight, the universe decided to break that silence. Staff signaled both of them toward the stage entrance, where celebrity introductions were being recorded for the live broadcast. They would have to walk up together, not as a duo, but one after the other. Close enough to feel the tension. Close enough to feel everything unresolved. Shen Yue stepped forward first. Dylan followed. The hallway was narrow enough that when she slowed down slightly to adjust her dress, he nearly brushed into her. She stepped to the side, giving him room, but neither spoke. The silence felt electric, charged with things left unsaid. When they reached the waiting point before the stage entrance, Shen Yue stood on the mark placed for her. Dylan took the mark behind her, just a few feet apart, close enough to hear her breathe. She didn't turn around. She didn't look at him, but he saw her hand, a small nervous tremor, barely noticeable, unless someone was watching closely. His instinct acted before his mind could intervene. His hand moved forward, almost without thought, lightly brushing the back of hers. A simple gesture, a reflex, a moment of silent reassurance. But she froze, not because the touch was unwanted, but because it was unexpected. Her breath caught, her fingers twitched, and she slowly, hesitantly, turned her head toward him. Their eyes met. For the first time that night, their walls fell slightly. He didn't pull his hand away. She didn't pull hers away either. The moment stretched, long, silent, private despite the crowd surrounding them. His touch wasn't bold, wasn't public, wasn't staged. It was soft, almost timid, carrying months of unresolved longing. But that wasn't what made it dangerous. What made it dangerous was that he didn't let go. A staff member approached suddenly, calling their names, and Shen Yue instinctively tried to shift her hand away. It was subtle, polite, dignified, an attempt to maintain professionalism. But Dylan's fingers gently followed. He didn't tighten his grip. He didn't hold her captive. He simply didn't let go as quickly as he was supposed to. The touch, meant to be a second, lingered. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Too long. Her heartbeat jumped in her chest. He felt it. She knew he felt it. His eyes lowered for the briefest moment, watching the place where their skin met, and something in his expression melted, like the version of him that always stayed controlled slipped for a moment. Shen Yue whispered, voice barely audible, "Dylan, people are watching." But he didn't pull back. He didn't even look around. His voice was low, steady. "Let them. She blinked, startled by the quiet intensity in his tone. This wasn't the Dylan who played it safe. This wasn't the Dylan who followed protocols. This was the Dylan who, for one dangerous second, forgot the world was filming and remembered only her. She gently tugged again to free her hand, but his fingers stayed with hers until the last possible millisecond, sliding away reluctantly as a staff member approached to adjust her microphone. And when their hands finally separated, something inside both of them cracked quietly. She stepped onto the stage first, her breathing uneven, her chest rising and falling faster than she wanted. Cameras flashed. Applause rose. She lifted her chin, smiling with practiced grace. But Dylan watched her walk out with an expression that wasn't meant for the cameras. He wasn't admiring her beauty. He wasn't watching as a co-star. He was watching like someone who had touched something precious and wasn't ready to lose it again. When he stepped onto the stage moments later, fans erupted in screams. He waved, he smiled, he posed, but the softness in his eyes didn't fade. It wasn't meant for the crowd. It wasn't meant for the cameras. It was meant for her. Throughout the ceremony, they rarely stood together, rarely spoke directly, rarely acknowledged each other publicly. But every time their paths crossed, even for a second, there was a subtle shift in Dylan's expression. A softness, a longing, a familiar ache. And Shen Yue pretended not to notice. But she did. Everyone did. Especially during the award presentation, when they accidentally ended up side by side on stage. She stood poised, elegant, holding a golden award plaque. Dylan stood beside her, hands clasped in front of him. The host continued speaking, but the audience had their eyes on the two of them. Then it happened again. A camera moved too close. Shen Yue instinctively stepped to the side to avoid bumping into it, but her heel nearly slipped on the corner of the stage platform. She steadied herself, but Dylan reacted faster than anyone expected. His hand shot out. He caught her elbow, gently, smoothly, protectively. And again, he didn't let go. Not immediately, not quickly, not neutrally. His touch lingered, just a moment too long. Just long enough for the audience to gasp. Just long enough for fans to screenshot. Just long enough for Shen Yue's breath to falter as she stared ahead, pretending the world wasn't witnessing something unspoken. He didn't release her until he was sure she was stable. And even then, his fingers slid away slowly, like he didn't want to let the moment go. The cameras captured everything. Her flushed cheeks, his parted lips, their too long hesitation. And suddenly, online comments exploded. Why did he hold her like that? That touch was not professional. Did Dylan forget who he's supposed to be avoiding?